California Special is a huge part of the Mustang's legacy in America, and it symbolises so much of what Mustang stands for. This is a direct quote from Matthias Ton, and he's the Mustang Chief Programme Engineer for Ford Europe. And he continued on by saying, "It's about time that customers here got to experience the unique California Special blend of style, performance and driving fun." Hi guys, and welcome back to Auto Social UK. Now, over the years, numerous special editions of the Mustang have emerged in Europe. There was the GT 500, the Bullets, the Boss 302s, the Hertz editions, amongst many others. However, the California Special, or also known as the GTCS, is a car which was initially manufactured for a brief period in 1968, and it was exclusively marketed in California. But after nearly 55 years, the GTCS is finally making its way to the UK. And in keeping with the vehicle's reputation for representing free-spirited spirit of the 1968 original and exemplifying the iconic style of America's West Coast, it will only be available as a convertible. As the four-cylinder model has been discontinued, the GTCS will also exclusively feature the V8 engine, with customers having the option to select either a 6-speed manual gearbox or a 10-speed automatic transmission. Now, unfortunately, in my opinion, I have the latter, but hopefully that's not going to ruin my experience. Now, I'll let you in on a little secret. There are very few cars nowadays which make me a little bit nervous. But the Mustang, yeah, it's one of them. Along with performance BMWs which are still rear-wheel drive. I'm a girl who likes my performance to be able to be handled. And that's something that the Mustang doesn't agree with. This thing will fight you continuously around the back roads. But that does mean that it's really great for people who love cars which are engaging to drive. There's a lot of people that love cars which have that element of danger. So if you want to see whether I can handle the Mustang convertible, then go ahead and keep watching. And if you do like new car reviews and car content, then please go ahead and hit the subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it. Okay, so first of all, before we talk about what is under that bonnet, let's start by talking about the exterior of the Mustang California Special. And I suppose what's different from the standard car. Changes to the California Special are definitely subtle. Of course, it's undescribably a Mustang. It looks like a Mustang, and it has a lot of the elements that all the other Mustangs in the range, including the Mach 1, do have. You've got these bonnet creases which lead way to these physical air vents which help cool that V8 engine. You've also got that bonnet which then hangs over the mean headlamps to give it a bit of a squint, to give it a bit of an aggression. I really like that. You've also got a large front ebony black honeycomb gloss grille, and you'll notice that something is missing. Yeah, it's the galloping horse, the Mustang badge. It's actually been removed for the California Special, and instead you've got some GTCS badges finished in race red. You also have an exclusive front splitter and some limited edition 19-inch alloy wheels. Now personally, I know that they're dedicated to the certain model and they play homage to the older cars. However, I do think the wheels look a little bit small for how aggressive the rest of this car is. However, I'm very pleased with the amount of rubber on here to alloy ratio, because if you know me, you know that I like to have battles with curbs. So that's always a plus point for me, and probably something I should prefer. You've also got some limited edition decals which run all the way down the side, which again have that race red GTCS badging. I've always admired Ford for their ability to keep the Mustang so very timeless. They definitely know their target audience, or at least when it comes to the petrol version. Let's not even talk about the electric one. It still looks very classic Mustang. It's instantly recognisable, and it plays homage to all its predecessors that come before it. You've got a physical aerial and things like this which just kind of take you back to cars of great. And I am going to say that because we have lost a little bit of fun when it comes to cars, which is a real shame. However, this is bang on the money of what a performance car or a muscle car if you could say that. I know it's somewhere in between performance and muscle. It's not a true American muscle car. However, it does have that great fun kind of show-offy feel about it. I've never been massive on the rear of these cars. I can't put my finger on why. And I also don't particularly like the rear GTCS Mustang California Special badge. I would rather see a pony somewhere on this car, but that's just me personally. I'm sure if you're buying this car for the heritage, then you'll want it to have all of that badging on it. Of course, a great thing about the rear of this car, and going back to those cars of greats, is you do have quad tailpipes. And these things sound amazing, and I know that's what you're waiting for, so go on, let's fire her up. At the heart of the 2023 Ford Mustang California Special is, of course, that infamous 5-litre V8 engine, capable of producing 444 brake horsepower and 529 newton meters of torque. This potent power plant is matched to a 10-speed automatic transmission, which, according to the Ford press kit, provides smooth, quick shifts and efficient power delivery. I wouldn't quite put it like that, but we'll talk more about that when I drive it. And this is specifically for the guy who commented on my Mazda CX-60 video, saying, "But every car comes with gas struts on its bonnet." No, it doesn't, because this car is nearly £60,000 and it doesn't come with gas struts. Now, absolutely, first and foremost, I've got to say that this car is so much fun. It's a very different kind of fun. It's not really a sophisticated fun. The gearbox, it's not great. I'll talk about that a bit more in a moment. It doesn't handle the best. It feels really heavy and clunky. And that means that you don't feel that confident throwing it around the back roads. But actually none of that matters, because it just puts a massive smile on your face. The colour, the appearance, everything comes together and makes you enjoy the drive of this car. And of course, that exhaust note is what makes this car. And I'm so pleased it does make such a racket, because let's face it, that is what Mustangs are just well known for. Now, there's a few different driving modes. One of these I really could have done with finding when I last drove the Mustang, because you have got a normal mode, a wet mode, a Sport Plus mode. In this car, you've also got a racetrack mode and a drag strip mode. Of course, we won't be using the latters, but let me just scroll back and let's put it in Sport Plus. Now, when I previously had this car, I drove it in the wet, and I drove it in Sports Plus, and actually I think I may have driven it in a particular Mustang mode that the car that I drove had, and it was an absolute animal. Spinning around every corner, the back was slipping out no matter what I did. So it's good to have that wet mode if it is a little bit damp on the roads, because this thing does have a mind of its own. But that is where the element of danger comes in with the Mustang, and it's part of what makes it have so much personality and such good fun to drive, because it does want to fight you back a little bit when you're driving, but the best cars do. Things like the BMW M2, they're famous because they're not actually that forgiving. When you throw it into a corner wrong, the car lets you know about it. The back end slips out, and it's the same with the Mustang. This thing feels massive on the roads. It really is a big brute. I kind of like that in a way. Again, I would not want to live with it. I wouldn't want to live with it for more than a summer, really, because let's face it, it's not set up for our UK roads. It is too big. I've tried to take this down the doctor's surgery and it could barely get in the car park. But for the short, sharp bursts around summer, having the top down, enjoying the sunshine, that roar from the V8, yeah, nothing quite beats it. In side of the Mustang, and in this front cabin, it's actually quite comfortable. These seats are really nice and bolstered. You've also got the GTCS embossed onto them. You can also find the plaque here as well, which is really nice. California Special, I really like that. And then you have got some Mustang badging. You've also got Mustang on the steering wheel as well, and everything is very logically laid out. It's a little bit chunky in a way, a little bit clunky, but that kind of gives it that muscle car feel. You've also got a little bit of kind of plasticky fake carbon, which I'm not really a massive fan of. The touchscreen, it's okay, it's not brilliant, it's not Ford's best system. You will find better systems elsewhere, but it all works very well. The Mustang California Special gets heated and cooled seats, as if we're going to need cooled seats in the UK, but we do have a few hot days, and I guess that's a homage to its kind of California heritage. Not really necessarily in the UK. You get keyless start, and you've also got these heavy weighted kind of dials down here, which are quite nice. You can change the modes, you can change the steering. However, they do only press upwards rather than downwards, which is a bit annoying. So you have to toggle through things constantly rather than go back down. Very, very small annoyance, but it is a little bit annoying. You also get a Bang & Olufsen sound system. I have got the spec here just to double check what this car has added onto it. So the only optional extras of this car are the premium body paint in Grabber Blue, the Sync satellite navigation pack including Bang & Olufsen sound system. So this car doesn't actually get sat-nav as standard, and when I tell you the base price is £57,000 without sat-nav, I think that's a little bit naff. But if you go for that, you do get the Bang & Olufsen sound system, and that's about £865, so it's probably worth it. And then the big price, you've got a Magna ride in this, so you've got an adaptive suspension system, which I'll talk about in a moment. And that gives us an on-the-road price of £60,000. That's quite a lot of money, isn't it? Yeah, it puts it into territory of a lot of different competitors. But I don't know, there is something I love about this car. It feels really nostalgic, it feels really old school, and I really like that about it. Okay, I've mentioned it a couple of times now, so what is my issue with the gearbox? There's not actually that much of an issue with the gearbox. The thing is in a car like this, I just want a manual. Like that roar from the V8, the noise it makes, the way it handles, I just want a manual to be even more engaged with this car. The 10-speed automatic is probably just too much for this car. I mean, at the moment I'm doing 30 miles per hour and I'm in 6th gear, which doesn't really make much sense to me. It always seems to want to be in really high gears. And of course that means that when you put your foot down and you demand a punch of power from it, it has to really quickly shuffle down the gears. And because it's not a dual clutch, it doesn't have that higher and lower gear set up right away. So there is a real pause when you put your foot down and when it kind of engages into actually giving you that power. I just don't really like this gearbox. The 10-speed, I'd rather have a dual clutch, something like you get in the Volkswagens. I know even they can be a little bit laggy, but this is really laggy. But everything would be solved with a manual box. The California Special gets its own suspension setup, which includes independent front and rear suspension, and it's been fine-tuned to be perfect for the personality of the California Special. It is slightly hard if you have it in the Sports Plus and race modes, but actually these seats, because they are so well bolstered, they're so comfortable, though the rest of the car is bouncing around, you're not actually uncomfortable. In fact, it's a lot more comfortable than I was expecting, but that may be because this car is actually fitted with the Magna ride. So this is the individual setup. It costs around £1,700, and it means that you can set up the car completely individually to your tastes. You can have all of the suspension, the steering, everything individually tuned to your personal preferences, which I always really like. A lot of the time cars with a suspension upgrade will usually be quite well sought after because they do just help improve the whole overall drive of the car. See, the thing with cars which are the most fun is often or not, they're not the quickest from 0 to 62, nor are they fastest round the back roads, or do they have the most high tech when it comes to driver engagement. Really, the most fun cars are those that put a smile on your face, the ones that make you laugh, and the ones that are a little bit silly. And actually, that is exactly what this Mustang California Special has. It's absolutely bursting with personality. And I think this is the reason why a lot of people find it hard to associate with electric cars, to feel that engagement with electric cars, because they're not packed full of personality like this car. Sure, some people absolutely love it, but do you know what? Some people absolutely hate it. And those are my favourite cars, the ones that divide opinions. But let me know, what do you think of the Mustang Convertible California Special? Do you think it's enough to make it a special edition, or do you think they've kind of just bolted on a few extra badges? Let me know in the comments down below. If you've enjoyed this video, please go ahead and give it a big thumbs up. And if you want to see more videos like this, then go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Until next time, guys, see you later.